Well, I mean, it's interesting. There's several definitions out there of transformative learning, and the best known one is by someone named Jack Mesereau. And I don't have the definition memorized by any means, but he talks about perspective transformation. And perspective transformation is important, but it doesn't kind of tell us what the transformative learning is aiming at. I mean, you could have all kinds of perspective transformations, deep or not. I've worked very closely with someone named Edmund O'Sullivan, who's at the Ontario Institute for Studies in Education. He's a professor emeritus, but his definition of transformative learning is really around, a very kind of deep change in basic premises that reorients our life really in a direction toward, he uses different words, but it's really toward a more sustainable society. It's precisely this kind of socially just, sustainable, humanly fulfilling kind of society. So my take on this is that we can understand transformative learning in terms as processes of transformation that help cultivate what I like to call ecological wisdom, which is a term I've been working with in my more recent research, which I've been interviewing people and trying to get their sense of, what is ecological wisdom, how has it developed, how in your own life have you moved toward that. And so when we talk about transformative learning, I think too it's really important to understand that we're not just talking about things that happen in a more formal educational context or even in a workshop, even though hopefully transformative learning does happen there. But life experience, for many people it's things like maybe having had a cross-cultural experience, or maybe it's a place in their life that they feel connected with, where they sense that deep connection with the earth that motivates them, or which cause them to see things in a different way. I mean, there's myriad experiences. There's opportunities for transformative learning everywhere. I think a really important thing about transformative learning is that it's a very holistic process. It doesn't just address the head, it also addresses the heart, the emotions, the body. It really, and if you actually look at what brings people to deep transformation, it's not to say that concepts sometimes haven't been important, they certainly have, but I think generally it's something almost at that deep level of a feeling of connectedness, a sense that we could live in another way, a deepening relationship. There's something that ticks at a more emotional level, and maybe ultimately it has to be motivated by these things like love, beauty, awe. One of the people I like a lot too in terms of understanding, she doesn't call it transformative learning, but she certainly teaches it, is Joanna Macy, who also talks about needing to honor our pain for the world, that even those emotions are important. It's not often good to start with the positive emotions, but the reason why we feel suffering is in large part because we care and we're compassionate beings. And so to realize that even that can be a source of interconnection, if instead of repressing the pain or trying to act like it doesn't exist, if we open ourselves to it and realize that it's a shared experience and that there are others who feel the same way, and that we can work for change together, and in that community find a way of addressing our deep concerns.